So I put out a poll to see what type of video you guys would like me to cover next on this channel. Again, I'm just doing this for fun at this point, not getting paid for any of this. And the Milk and Cookies video won out above the Shogun 2 video, but don't worry, for those of you guys who voted for Shogun 2, I will make that video. But the Milk and Cookies video is talking about the video he posted where it says why I haven't covered Shadows of Change. It is a video that was recommended to me to watch from Volund, and I ended up watching the original video. I watched Volund's take on the video, and being a Total War, ex-Total War YouTuber, one that was in the system, in the Matrix, and kind of being in his position, of course, I never had his numbers, I never had his clout, I never had any of that stuff. I was a small YouTuber at the time, but I still had the same issues. At the time, there was a hot topic issue. There was two hot topic issues that are kind of relevant to what's going on right now with Milk and Cookies. And so I'm going to leave a link to that video, to his video, in the comment section below, and Volund's video. Go ahead and check both of them out. I think they both work pretty well in tandem together because Volund deciphers and decrypts that video perfectly. I'm not going to look at the video right now while I'm talking to you. I'm just going to give you guys my take on it. And I have a very unique take because I was in his position. So Shadows of Change is a crap DLC. It comes at a time when CA lost Hyenas. Warhammer 3 is basically being abandoned. It has a bunch of bugs, there are a lot of issues, and CA just wants your money. And it's pretty clear the Warhammer community is not happy, and so they're taking it out on one of the biggest Warhammer YouTubers, which is Milk and Cookies Total War. And that's just comes with the territory. You're the one talking about it, of course they're going to talk to you about it. And Milk and Cookies posted this video that he hasn't covered Shadows of Change, but if you watch the video and even look through his channel before this video, he had covered Shadows of Change. He just didn't cover a lot of it. He said he didn't cover it much. That's kind of how he gets around writing that title that way. He says he didn't cover it much in the video, but he did, according to Volund, cover it like at least 5+ times. So he has covered it, he just hasn't, like, I'm assuming, done like 20 or 30 videos on it like everything else. So maybe that's why that constitutes he hasn't covered yet in his mind, but technically he has covered it. And so he has done Shadows of Change, and that's probably where he's getting a lot of this flack from, because Warhammer 3 is getting a lot of flack and CA is getting a lot of flack. And so obviously it's all going to pinpoint to Milk and Cookies, and he needs to mitigate all that. And essentially what he says is that he has to do this. It is his job to do this. And so he can't just boycott CA. He can't boycott, you know, anything that they give him, because it's his job basically. And so don't get mad at him for doing his job, which is a weird way to say it, because there are a lot of people in history that were just doing their jobs, and they were, you know, you could still criticize them, and honestly at some points it would be worse than that, but some people were just doing their jobs. And I'm not saying that he is at that level, obviously, I'm just saying it's a weird argument. So his logic is actually sound in a way, like, you know, don't criticize him for doing something bad when you kind of are doing something bad by being part of the world, essentially, or being part of the economics of the world, I guess, is what he's saying. Logically, that makes sense, but logically, we're not talking about that. Logically, people are talking about you shilling for CA and Shadows of Change. They're not talking about anything else, nothing else. So let's focus on what you're doing. That's kind of how I, on this side of it, would refocus, you know, the argument on him. But that's where my unique perspective comes in, and that is that I was in the exact same position as him. When I was coming up as a creator, I was part of the Total War time period where people were so fed up with not only paying extra for blood and gore, like as a DLC add-on, but pre-ordering the game to get DLC, or free DLC basically if you pre-order, but then you have to pay for it afterward. Like, everybody was upset about that back in the day. They were furious about it, and they still are, because CA hasn't really changed much of what they do. I mean, they haven't really. I don't even know if Pharaoh had that same process. I don't know if Pharaoh has blood. I don't know if Pharaoh has a pre-order, but I'm pretty sure Troy had one, if I'm not mistaken, but the Warhammer games definitely had them. And so these are things that people were upset about, and they would come at me in the comment section like, why are you talking about this DLC? Why are you so excited for blood and gore? Why are you shilling for CA? Why are you pushing the blood and gore and stuff like that? So at the time, I would say the exact same thing. Like, listen guys, this is the way it's being done, so we can't change it. And this is what I'm doing, because at the time I was making money off of it. I'm doing this because it's kind of my side gig. It's not my full-time job, but it's my side gig. So that's why I'm talking about this stuff. This is the new stuff that's coming out. If I don't talk about the new stuff that's coming out, I won't have anything else to talk about. Therefore, I won't be able to make any more videos. Therefore, I won't get paid. It's essentially, like, I didn't say it just like that, but that's basically what it comes off to. I would say, like, mainly, oh, like, yeah, I can't make any more videos because of the fact that I'm not talking about this stuff, and therefore I won't have the videos to make for you guys. So that's kind of how I talked about this stuff, especially the Greek city-states DLC. People were so pissed off about that, and I was really excited about it. My first campaign was going to be a Spartan campaign, and they're literally blocked. You have to pre-order a game, which pre-ordering games is just such bullshit. It's like one of the most bullshit practices that they have in the gaming industry. And I can say that, I'm saying that now, and I'm man enough to say that I was shilling just like he is back then, because I had a vested interest. When you have a vested interest, you're gonna be like, trying to make everything sound as peachy as possible. You're going to be trying to make everything not sound as bad as it is, because you know that you have to do it regardless of what you're doing. And luckily with my other channels in Dragon Ball and even Fortnite, I don't really have to be beholden to, having to talk about a certain thing, because my audience wants honesty, full honesty from me, so I can just say how everything is. But back then, in my early YouTube days with Total War, I didn't want to be talking crap about, like, the fact they had to pay extra for the DLC, for blood and gore. I would say that it needs to be, it should be part of the game, like a game mode you could put on, click on and off. That should be good enough. But if we had to pay, like, what, it was like $4, $5 for it, it's not that bad. That's how I would say back then. Now, fuck that shit. That shit's so terrible when the game is literally a war game, and the games prior to them had some level of that. So again, they just take away features to give it back to us, sell it back to us, and that's usually how it goes. But I know his perspective. I know that I have to make money. I know that I have to keep the business running. And if CA sent me the Blood and Gore DLC early, of course I'm going to talk about it. That's just the way it was. And again, I'm being completely honest with you guys. That's how it was back then. But that's my take on this. I would still watch their videos because that would give you more context to it. That's my take as being an ex-Total War YouTuber. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.